wish that I could see. I wish that I could feel. I wish that I could know. I wish that I could hear. I wish that I could see. I wish that I could feel. I wish that I could know.
1, 2. Make some noise if you are alive right now. Come on, y'all. And the crowd goes mild. I said, make some noise if you feel alive tonight. I know we at the library, but it's okay to make some noise tonight, okay? We got some amazing, amazing poets coming up here. Some of my good friends. One of my, I would say mentors, a person who I've looked up to for so long, a leader in the community, in the word community, but also good friends that are here to support each other. There's some good reunions happening right now. My name is Jose Guerrero. I want to thank you so much for being here for the Teen Authors Convention. Let's go make some noise for the Denver Public Library for creating unique, awesome, diverse opportunities for young folks to come out here and experience some really, really cool authors that sometimes, I know from my experience, it was hard for me to identify with poets, right? And it's hard for you to see yourself in the page when that narrative isn't yours, right? When that story doesn't really match yours. And so thank you and shout out to the library for allowing young kids of color to actually see themselves in books, right? And to be able to identify with poetry. And so shout out to y'all. I'm going to stop talking and read some poems. Is that okay? Well, I just got my book published by El Martillo Press maybe 2 months ago. It's a brand new book. I'm excited. It got some. It's a collection of books that I've written throughout my entire poetry career, and it's really cool to see someone actually value your work the same way that you value your work, right? And so it's an awesome book. I got some for sale. If you want to holler at me later, you know what I'm saying? But anyways, make some noise for the band as well. We got some musicians here who are going to bless you with some amazing music. We got my boy Ian on the piano. We got Joshua Trinidad on the trumpet. Y también Elias Garcia on the guitar. These are good friends of mine, good friends of the library as well. And thank you so much for having us. I wrote this poem as a young chavalito walking through the city of Denver. This poem is called Walking Towards Freedom. I got that special type of walk. The type of walk your daddy uses when he first talked to your mama type of walk. Yeah, I got that special type of lead. So smooth, you think I'm cruising a lowrider on Cinco de Mayo. Yeah, see, I've been working on my walk for a while now. Ever since I was a little chavalito. I can recall my father walking me through the process at an early age. He would say, walking is one of the simplest ways you can show someone you're free. See, the first step to being enslaved is to actually get caught. And why do you think Martin Luther King and Cesar Chavez spent all that time marching? You gotta stay on your toes, mijo. This system has interesting ways of turning a man into a slave. If you ask my father for a ride, he'll tell you to walk. After crossing the desert for a better life, he sees my walk to the Denver Public Library as an easy stroll to the park. Walking in my father's footsteps has taught me that if you love something, you'll do anything you can to get to it. Your feet will get you there if you allow them to. My father walks with the determination of an immigrant, like his children were starved if he doesn't walk fast enough, like there are immigration agents chasing after him. He's America's worst nightmare, a bad dude in a foreign that makes somebody move out the way, punk. The type of walk that make the cops wanna follow you. The type of walk that make the cops wanna follow you. In 2012, Trayvon Martin was murdered for having the same walk as me. And they asked me why I cried. Because he walked just like me. Because he walked just like me. Still perfecting his own walk. Still getting used to the feeling of walking in a black or brown man's shoes. This is the reason why kids like us never achieve social mobility. How can we climb the ladders of class if we can't even walk through our neighborhoods without feeling like someone is chasing after us? But I risk it all. My people risk it all to show my son and the rest of the chavalitos in the world that we can walk to a better future instead of having to walk away from everything all the time. And if we all walk at the same time, the weight of our steps will force this world to flip its rotation. So stand up and walk with me. My people, stand up and walk. We have the whole world at our feet. I think it's time that we exercise our freedom. Thank you. I got one more poem for y'all. This book is actually dedicated to Janet Vizguerra, who is a political prisoner right now. And so I feel like it's my obligation as a poet to speak about the things that we're dealing with. And she is like a mother figure to me. And I talk to her every night. And so I make sure to give her a little bit of some good juju every single time I speak to her on the phone and say, hey, we talked about you in this place, in this place, in this place. Like, we carry her story, and please, we encourage you to look up her name and to go support every single Monday at the ICE Detention Center. We gather, and we fight with our words, and we fight with our cries, and we fight with our songs, but we demand her freedom and all those folks who are in there unrightfully caged. This poem is called Borderline Crazy. Make some noise for the musicians one more time, y'all. Come on. Let them hear it. And I'm going to ask a question. It's a question that I talked to my son about. He asked me, Dad, if the U.S. were to crumble, would Americans jump over their own borders and flock the streets of Mexico City? Would they seek refuge in Darfur or Somalia? Our perception on immigration would change very quickly. If the Minutemen or Donald Trump would cross the desert, they'd probably die from sunburn. Our brown skin is proof of survival. It is a battle room from our journeys to this country. Would you pray to Lord Descalipoca for a darker shade of skin or a wider set of feet? Have you ever been so thirsty that your throat turned into the parchment politicians write racist laws onto? If the president's children were taken from him and deported to a foreign country, he would have banned these ICE raids at once. He would regret not teaching them their native tongue and never bothering to learn it himself. He would curse his government for allowing their skin to become lighter behind the shadows of the White House. Do you think he would trust his daughter's lives in the hands of a coyote? Would you? If the sounds of stomachs rumbling reminded you of bullets, would you be afraid of hunger? If your children cried for food, would you steal a piece of bread for them? If you have answered yes to any of these questions, then why would you blame anybody for coming to America? All they seek is food and shelter. I said all we seek is food and shelter. So break bread. It's not like we weren't the ones who baked it for you in the first place. Can you see the immigrant bones that your homes have been built with? With countertops made from their spines and kitchens where too many immigrants have touched your food to call it American? Do you still call this a home? Have we forgotten that the pilgrims every day without showing a visa, then why should we have to? If a person is not welcomed in their home or anyone else's, does this make them nomadic? Do you think people enjoy being pushed out their own home? You think they leave for no reason? Do you know what it feels like when both of the languages on your tongue try conquering each other? ¿Tienes miedo cuando hablamos español? Does it frighten you when we speak in Spanish? Pero te da más miedo cuando hablamos en inglés. But it frightens you more when we speak in English. Esta siempre será nuestra tierra. And no, we will not translate that, but I will translate this. Humano, human. Inadabo, human. Mensch, human. Manvia, human. Daritsan, human. Kaanika, human. Bila Ashla E, human. We say, let them eat. Let them eat. Let my people eat. Thank you. All right, y'all. Let's get to the main event here, all right? We got some heavy hitters coming down, coming from outside of our state to bless us with some of their amazing work. And the first poet up, Idris Goodwin, is one of the most successful public. Well, you got like 20, 25 books out there. It's insane. I'm going to let him tell you a little bit more about how many books he really got out there. But please give him a mile-high welcome. Clap it up and make some noise for Idris Goodwin coming up to the stage, y'all.
Hey, good evening, y'all. How you guys doing? Really? Really? That's what we doing? No, it's cool. It's cool. Gotta earn it. I understand. That was really fire. One more time for this crew over here. That was very moving. I was like, I'm a church boy, so I was just like, All right, let me get it together. I had a book come out in October, October 14th. The book is called King of the Neuroverse. I had the pleasure to meet your very own Julia Torres in Portland this summer at one of these little industry events. And when she told me she worked here in Denver in the world of literacy and youth, I immediately was like, oh man, I'm gonna be there in November for this conference and would love to, because I lived here. I lived in Colorado for about 10 years. Down in the Springs, but I was up here often doing various projects and things like that. So it's great to be back up here, and I'm really excited for this, to share this book with you tonight. This is my first foray. As mentioned earlier, I've written a lot of plays, primarily, also a lot of poetry. I have two poetry books, one called These Are the Breaks, and then another called Can I Kick It? Thank you very much. I like to just name my books after rap songs. But King of the Universe is very different. It's fiction, but it's very much based on my journey as a young Thundercat. So at 14, in 1991, I'm an older gentleman, I was diagnosed with ADD is what they called it at the time. See, you ain't had an H back in my day, you understand? You understand? Now y'all got the H in it. So anyway, it was ADD, but it was 1991. And while we did have the Theo has dyslexia episode of The Cosby Show, we had yet to have the ADD episode of The Cosby Show. So we did the best we could at the time. Nonetheless, it went untreated for about 30 years. So when I was 44 years old, working actually in Colorado Springs, I had one of these like Ratatouille moments, you know what I mean? You remember when homie eats the dish, spoiler alert, when homie eats the dish at the end of Ratatouille and he's like transported back to childhood and he's like, oh my God, right? I had one of those moments. And so I began my journey to actually seek treatment in a positive way, because I didn't realize I had been coping in all these very not positive ways. So real quick, for those who may not know, ADHD is it's a low amount of dopamine in the brain. And so sometimes we seek the dopamine rush in these different ways, which is why we jump from thought to thought to thought and try to conquer all the thoughts at the same time. We get very excited and then we just crash. And that's usually due to dopamine. And so I realized, how did I cope for 30 years? Well, I coped for 30 years because I was a huge fan of hip hop music. and I was writing lyrics, which was like the only thing I was good at until about, until I was like in my 20s and went to film school and started being able to do hip hop in audiences, right? And so this book is really answering the question of how is it that young people, especially who are not treated, what are the ways in which they can cope through the arts? And so this story is set in 1999 as a young man named Purnell who was in summer school for the third summer in a row. This is his summer before senior year. And the reason that this book exists is because during this summer, he tape records himself and leaves little messages every day. Now, he's leaving messages to the future. Now, why is he leaving messages to the future? Well, it's because it is the summer of 1999. And I don't know, those of you who are older, remember in 1999, we was worried about that Y2K, okay? These were simpler times, guys. These are more innocent times where we was just like, oh, dang, we didn't think about them digits. Well, we're going to have to get us a generator. It's very innocent times, y'all. What a time. So these are sort of Purnell's entries, if you will. And the novel is written in verse, and the reason it's written in verse is because I wanted the reader to feel like they had ADHD. And I wanted people with ADHD to read it and be like, see, this guy gets it, And so it's been a really great ride with the book so far. So anyway, I'm going to stop with all that setup, and I'm going to just read you a little piece of it. But I feel like I need all that setup. Here we go. Y2K. That's what they're calling it, Y2K, year 2000, a big crash because of how we count time. Back when they were first programming computers, they only used a 2-digit code for the year, 77, not 1977, 99, not 1999. So when it rolls to 00, the system is bound to freak out. My parents think this is absurd, that of course they saw this coming. But if you look through history, common sense wasn't always so common. I mean, back when I was real little, like 3, there was this space shuttle that blew up while the whole world was watching. Mistakes happen all the time. But as far as the ones and zeros you're hearing, the ones representing my voice, I'm grateful for them. They're holding up nicely, a bunch of hairs bouncing to the rhythm. They're the only thing that can keep up. Pens and paper can't. Even the keys on the keyboard can't. Hell, I don't know if anything ever truly will keep up with the speed of thought, especially mine. There's this disconnect, the invisible black curtain. My mother talks about this invisible black curtain that falls across my eyes when I'm not listening. And not only not listening, just not focusing, not even in the room. It's not my fault that most people don't keep my interests. Electra always does. The best used to be on Mondays when she'd show me pictures of all the old junk she got at estate and yard sales, CD players and random chords and speakers. Are you building a giant monster made of yestertech to take over the city? Why would I want to take over this crappy town, she said. I spit my drink out just a little. The invisible black curtain never falls when Electra and I hang out. Not like we hang out that much. Summer school feels like forever but goes by fast. Last year, she brought me this recorder I'm speaking into. Yeah, this one. Last week of summer school, she walked up to me. It was all balled up in old newspaper with tape in every direction. It's for you, she said, a present. Inside was this little black recorder. She said she got it at a yard sale, but it looked new to me, with the biggest Post-it note wrapped around it that just said, keep talking, E. The 3 summers. Summer after freshman year, summer after sophomore year, and now summer after junior year. And every summer at home, there's always a different someone I just want you to talk to. Mom's medical world friends. She's not a doctor, but she's in the world of hospitals and stuff, more on the business side. But she knows all these people I should talk to. They all have these super specific specialties, not just like surgeon or dentist, but they have titles like pediatric therapist, behavioral, neural something something. And they're all nice enough, but one conversation at the kitchen island over snacks on a Sunday afternoon won't stop Miss Bonnelly from gliding and twirling circles around my skull. They called it hyperactivity. Then they thought I had dyslexia, trouble with letters and words. Reading is challenging, but only because I get bored. Actually, no, it's the opposite. I'm too interested in too many other things at the same time. The book I'm trying to read, the book I read a year ago, a movie I want to see, what I want to eat now, what I want to eat later. I forgot to make my bed again. 14 different ideas I will never do anything with, and so on and so on. The challenge is with English, which I am sure is a surprise. As you can hear, I speak English fine. I'm in English classes involving language, papers, reciting back to the right words, making a thesis and arguing it. Intro, body, paragraph 1 through 3, and conclusion, proving I understand and can draw lines between grapes of wrath and Fahrenheit something or other. And the titles on the reading list, I know them, familiar big names like Chuck E. Cheese and Advil, but I know more about Chuck E. Cheese and Advil than I do about what's on the reading list. The rest of school I skated by. Mom and Dad tried to get me a tutor that summer, but then I broke my arm at the skate park. The ice skate park, let's be clear. Not the cool bad boy kind of skating, but ice skating, where even as a child, I knew I didn't belong. Like I was saying, literally a week before the last day of school, I broke my arm. Rest of the summer was Disney movies and popsicles after every lunch. But it's been a concern, my grades and my learning of English. I don't know, like I said, I think my English is okay. But it's hard to focus on the Scopes monkey trial when your teacher is a bully. Ms. Harding, she's the czar of all things literature and composition. Imagine a stormtrooper mixed with a wicked stepmother, mixed with your parents' least favorite politician, sprinkled with dry cement mix. I came from my kind and gentle, super supportive elementary and middle schools in a different city to this big brick high school, where I got drenched in reality. Since then, 3 straight years, it's like bumper cars. Freshman year was okay, things went faster than me, but I could keep up, which was easy because I didn't have any friends. Everybody came in knowing one another from middle school, and I was new, spinning in circles trying to navigate without a kiosk that says you are here. Sophomore year is when things got really shaky. That's when I first met Harding. Inherit the Wind is an exceptional courtroom drama. She tried to make some connection to the Law and Order shows on TV. Teachers always try to make old stuff seem cool by comparing it to new stuff, but Law and Order is also old stuff. I liked when we read it out loud, made the words come to life in the argument, this thing about evolution. I came home charged up. Unfortunately, all roads led back to the page. I'm so glad you enjoy this, but this isn't about your pleasure. This is a work of literature, and I need to know that you know why it stood the test of time. I was lost staring at encyclopedias. A thesis? My thesis was it was a cool play, but it was a cool play was not a thesis enough. She gave me a D+ and told me, and that's being merciful. My parents got me a tutor, took refined sugar out of my diet, no more fast food stops before the movies, and I retook Intro to American Lit that summer. I didn't think I'd have to deal with Harding again, but sure enough, American Lit 2. Here she was again. We have another great courtroom drama, just like the play we read earlier this semester, Inherit the Wind, remember? We are going through To Kill a Mockingbird. Okay, same story I've heard my whole life. False accusation, the wrong brown-skinned man on trial, the one noble white man, one of the good ones, like the guy who got Jackie Robinson into baseball, and when that one actress from Scarface went to the ghetto school and taught them a Coolio song or something. It's whatever. I'm fine with those kind of movies, by the way. My Aunt Claudette loves them because they usually have Oprah in them. And she once interned for Oprah's show back when she lived in Chicago. That's her favorite thing to remind us about. You know, back in Chicago, I was out there with your girl, O. And I was in my head in this particular memory, and Harding saw it, and she was not feeling it. She slapped her hand on the desk, looked me in my face, put her hand on my shoulder, and it felt like it was going to melt through the entire side of my body. Earth to Purnell. I was only in the first stage of Bonnelly, a few 360 spins, but I was starting to wobble. Classics deserve our utmost attention, and I just looked at her, and she got impatient and said, "You and I spoke about this. We never spoke about this. You cannot seem to focus, so I guess we have to help you, help make sure you keep up. Isn't that right, everyone?" She was waving her arms like a pastor, bringing everyone in. No man left behind, right? Why don't you read it out loud? Go ahead, Purnell. And I froze. Can someone please help Purnell here find his way? And a voice from the other side told me where we were on the page, and I looked down on that spot, and of course, it's one of the few lines of dialogue from the brown-skinned man who's on trial, the man this whole book centers around, and who has the least to say, and I was being asked to say it. I'm not going to say it here because I didn't say it there. I just stayed frozen, all eyes chipping away, Harding with her hands on her hips. I don't understand. You don't understand English? A third of the class laughed. Another third recoiled with a bit of shock. The last third lived somewhere in between. I don't understand why I have to be the one to read this part. She got so red I thought she was going to burst into flames like the Human Torch. Only a bully holds that much rage for insubordination. I could see her joy-eating mouth struggle to hold back whatever insult she had loaded in the clip, something that would violate half the codes of conduct. Instead, she backed up, sat down, hoisted her glasses to her eyes, scribbled something on a small Post-it. I don't know what that Post-it said, but I think it's clear. She wrote me a one-way ticket to my second summer school term, just like she did sophomore year and just like she did this year. Seeing a pattern here? All right, thank you, y'all.
Oh, you can be louder than that. Make some noise for Idris Goodwin one more time, y'all. And right now, I need you to make just as much noise, but I'm a little biased, right? I've known Mahogany Browne for so long. In fact, we're here talking about engaging youth in poetry, right? That's how I met. Back in the day, you was doing the Youth Speaks, and we was on final stage at Brave New Voices, and we got to share a lot of time back then. I know I feel like my poetry career has always been influenced and that's just been really, it's been shaped by to the strongest of poets. I know that here in Denver, we got our own queen, Susie Q. Smith, in the house herself, you know what I mean? Pero también, let's make a lot of noise because from all the way from Oakland to New York, running it. Also, I think, did you have a residency at the Kennedy Center? Lincoln Center, my bad. Lincoln Center. Come on, y'all. Make a lot of noise and welcome up Dr. Mahogany Browne to the stage. Come on, y'all. Let her hear it. Come on.
I got to buy that new book. Congratulations. Happy to be here. Idris Goodwin is a good brother, hence the name. So wherever he say, let's go read some joints, I'd be like, all right. He's like, Alaska, I hate the cold. All right, I'll do it. This book is my newest joint. It's been longlisted for the National Book Award. A bird in the air means we can still breathe. So I'm gonna read a little bit of everything, not everything, but a little bit from each. I'll give you three different voices. Novel and story, each of them rely on the other. This is Tariq, 7 Stages of Quarantine. Stage 1. And no one on South Portland and Fulton Street is sure if tomorrow and every tomorrow thereafter will be different. During stage 1 of the quarantine, the wind is still sweet with spring air, and the Brooklyn squirrels have more patience than its politicians. During stage 1 of the quarantine, people forget to stay 6 feet away from everyone they may love. During stage 1 of the quarantine, people hold doors open with the foot planted against its closing, and people wear their masks and sunglasses and latex gloves. During stage 1 of the quarantine, people hoard water, people say good morning, people still curse the barista if their coffee isn't made correctly. During stage 1 of the quarantine, people haven't found the meaning of soft life. During stage 1 of the quarantine, people fuss with their, what did I say? Oh, fit over. I don't have my glasses, sorry. Fit over sunglasses, the kind that can be worn on top of prescription glasses, and people are sour about it. It is contagious. Stage 2 of the quarantine, and no one thinks about tomorrow. People distance themselves from anyone they do not know and have begun to pour instant coffee like sugar water. People have minimalized all of their living quarters. People have reshelved their canned foods to hoard more food. People have begun to smoke when no one is looking. People take out the bills, piling up the mailboxes and stuff them in the empty drawer in the kitchen. People take a daily walk to the park before winter arrives and blankets anything outdoors and everything green. People pretend the drum circle led by the black man with the red, black, and green styled sweatsuit is entertaining when really people are counting how many people they have lost to the virus. People whisper the word virus when they are talking to their neighbors from their terraces. People don't have a terrace, and they live in a garden-style apartment. People make up stories to keep themselves entertained. People watch the news. People do not watch the news. People refuse to clean anything until they begin to smell their body odor when answering the door for takeout. People do not answer the door when the bell rings. Instead, they ask the delivery person to leave it in front of the steps and make a mad dash as soon as the delivery person is gone. People count their steps from the vestibule door to their front door. People lock and chain their doors. People grab a bottle of water from the 5-foot stack of bottled water sitting behind the door. People open their mouths and release, as if they're refreshed, as if they have it all under control. Sometimes, people still remember what the day is. Sometimes, they still remember the nicknames they received in first grade. Stage 3 of the quarantine, and the only thing outside of the house are remnants of a vibrant and bustling city. Old bodega sandwich bags and sunflower seed shells sit where the drum circle once was. Some people live with others who are disappearing right before their own eyes. These people haven't left the house in 14 days. People make a crock pot of meat and vegetable stew every night, so in the morning, food relaxes the fear into thinking death isn't as close as everyone believes it is. Some people are parents. Some people are teens. Some people are toddlers. All the people scream. People are forgetting the world they once belonged to. People are creating a new world within the walls of their apartments. People have stopped looking at the death rates on television. People have stopped reading emails. People have stopped forcing homework down the throats of their children. People are happy to be alive. People are terrified of being alive. People miss the days when going to the playground was an easy and meaningless task. People haven't forgotten the walk to the park, but people are too afraid to leave the house. So people fall into video games, FaceTime, voice memos, and vision board exercises. The last one isn't their idea. It's their parents' idea, or their grandparents' idea, or their partner's idea, or something they read on Twitter before they deleted the app altogether. People no longer want to argue about who is the best forward because the Brooklyn Nets are such a long-ago dream. It feels silly and childish to reminisce over something that may never come true again. Sometimes they have a singular story, too. It goes. "7 months into pandemic living, and they just want to go outside again. They aren't able to attend school with their best friend Zamira. They can't go to the parties in the park. They can't take the train or sneak into a friend's house. They can't pretend this is all a game of hide and seek, not when the only person they had in the world is Grandma Marigold. They can't get her sick. They can't lose her too. Welcome to Sal's Bodega, the best thing to come out of Yemen since oil and iron. Yeah, bodega is a Spanish word, but in New York City, bodega means where you get everything on your block in one place. Pepe is Sal's adopted nephew. He's been working the bodega counter since he was in 5th grade. And my name is Pops. Keep the grill hot. Look at my grills. Cheese. I got these pearly joints at Above Ground Grills over in Albee Square Mall. Let me know if you need that hookup with my peoples over there. They work around the clock. Why do they call me Pops? Nah, not because I pop off. I'm a nice guy. They call me Pops because I love Pop-Tarts. But my real name is Muhammad. So boom, anything you need, let me know. We got a good thing going. We've been a part of the neighborhood since before. I mean, back when Sal, our uncle's best friend, was working 20 hours solid and only took his breaks for prayer. It was my uncle who sent in his workers from the construction crew to relieve him when Pepe was in school. Then, when Sal said he wanted to go back to Yemen, times was hard and he needed to focus on his ailing wife at home, he sold the store to Unc, and we've been here ever since. That was almost 13 years ago. Sal was a good guy. He let everybody from the neighborhood sit for a cup of coffee and gave all the young ones like me a place to work when our families migrated from Yemen for the last time. Be careful with that refrigerator door. Fat dude is right there. He's the bodega cat. Everybody got a bodega cat. If you go to any bodega in the city, they got a cat. But you know why they got cats? Because the rats in the cities are vicious. That's why Fat Dude is a part of the team. If you search in the aisle behind the cat food for toilet paper, you'll see a calico cat napping right there. You can call her Callie. She belongs to our delivery staff, Tamara, but we're borrowing Callie for another week of pest surveillance until Tam says Callie can go home. So go ahead, you can pet them. They don't bite. But Fat Dude, you don't play about the fridge. He'll bump up against anybody if they try to come in here pushing around all our milk cartons. Besides, I already rotated them. We may not look all fancy on the outside like those new bright organic supermarkets that's been tearing down the local Royal Fried Wing spots. We don't play that sell the milk before it spoils. Nah, we keep it homegrown here. You know why? We don't let the milk go bad here because we live here. Word to the mother. I went to Boys and Girls High School right over on Utica Avenue, so I know what's up. I know good food, and that's why I'm on the grill. I'm the grill master. Get it? So what kind of sandwich you want? I can make you anything. It's my superpower. You following that keto diet? I got you. Grain-free bread, egg whites, and pepper turkey. Put mayo and mustard just to keep it together and slap that baby on the grill. Sizzle, sizzle, boom. You want that bacon, egg, and cheese, but fancier? We got beef bacon, turkey bacon, faking bacon. Nah, we ain't got no pork here, but it tastes heavenly on a Kaiser roll so soft you mistake the bread for a cloud. Slap on some honey mustard with the fried egg on top and dash hot sauce. Sizzle, sizzle, boom. You want fries? You want macaroni salad? You want a tuna melt with lettuce and tomatoes? I got you. But don't keep the refrigerator door open too long. It's hot out here. The streets is always hot in this city. You know Jay-Z, that's my guy. He made that New York anthem with Alicia Keys on the keys. Jeez, it's like the city puffed its chest up. And anytime that song is on, it doesn't matter where you are from or what you're going through. You start singing the lyrics about a concrete jungle. I promise, New York City is magic, even in the midst of all of this mess. When the pandemic first hit, Pepe and I lived back here. We had to keep the doors locked and served everyone through the window over there. Yeah, the one by the cigarettes. We sold everything we had at one point. It was bare in here, yo, just us and the cats, some cat litter, a little bit of canned food, and that's it. Word life. Times is hard for all of us. The PPP loans didn't come through for everyone. I'm telling you, Congress ate good on them loans while all the brothers and sisters in the hood damn near starved. We figured it out, though. But it ain't luck. It's the neighborhood. We are family. We don't treat people like animals here. You don't see us following you around stores. Nah, we treat each other with respect. That's on everything I love. So, what you want to order? I can make you anything. I make the best chopped cheese, ask anybody. I make the best chicken cutlet Parmigiana Hero. Someone from Milan, Italy told me so you know it's true. Word, you don't eat no meat? No problem, Aki. My sister's one of them vegetarians too. I got veggie patties, impossible patties, soy patties, mushroom patties, add some peppers and onions. Sheesh, you won't know what hit you. And I use a little panini press just for the veggies so we don't cross-contaminate. I told you I'm the king of this. Call me Pops, the grill king. And finally, from a voice who watches it all, sees it all, my Greek chorus, Hyacinth and Electra. So we are very much in conversations, our Electra. And Hyacinth loves poetry, so much so she's inspired by Audre Lorde, and that is how we close this specific collection. So this is Hyacinth's homage to Audre Lorde. It's called We, a Litany on Surviving. We young and we still wise. We learn from our parents' mistakes and grow. We create and become the freedom our elders fought to achieve. We dream in color, and we believe in science. We climate justice. We trans rights. We women's rights. We immigration rights. We anti-war. We poverty abolitionists. We love without borders and beyond binaries. We able-bodied and disabled. We mental health day and let's debrief. We pass the plate and lift while we climb. We laugh without cutting one another down. We're not the mean and bully brigade. You can sit at our table. We laugh until our jokes create gardens of dreams. We dance to the staccato of soca and house. We bubblegum before bedtime and lullabies. We migrant stories and homemade recipes. We thrift culture. We meditate. We respect our elders with open dialogue. We respect ourselves with tough questions and grace. We graceful. We graceful. We grateful. We grateful. We clumsy humans with piercings. We vaccinated with cartoons on repeat. We chicken noodle soup. Chicken noodle soup, chicken noodle soup. Thank you, thank you. You passed. You passed. With a bevy on the side. We activate our goodwill and share our hand sanitizer. We mask up and keep calm. We are a generous legacy, just trying to make our ancestors proud, even when our backs are against the wall. Thank you. Grab the water.
Um, Hi, my name is Melody Anderson. I just had some questions for the both of you. For Idris, I was going to ask, what was an early, oh, sorry. So I was going to ask, what was an early experience you had where you learned language had power?
So I've always been intoxicated and mesmerized by the living word, the word in action, words in air. And, I'm from Detroit. I'm from Motown. There's nothing like I was just surrounded by, the best music, Smokey Robinson, great lyricist, Smokey Robinson, a lot of gospel. All my early heroes were pastors, rappers, and comedians. And so I just saw, the effortlessness that people would, in the audience, in the congregation, whatever. So I loved that energy. Or just when the kinfolk come over, when relatives come over, and they're playing bidwis and laughter and all that. I loved the energy of that. And so then once I discovered that all of this isn't extemporaneous, that people prepare sermons and they prepare jokes, and when the Source magazine would publish lyrics, which, by the way, there is not enough said about how revolutionary that was, like that practice. Source magazine was a hip hop magazine in the 90s, and they would have hip hop quotables. And I remember there was a song in the early 90s by, I don't have to keep saying in the early 90s. I think we all know that I'm an older gentleman, okay? I'm an older guy. I was born when I was born. That's what I say. I don't just, you know what I mean? I don't do the self-deprecating like I'm an old head. I'm like, hey, I'm a seasoned gentleman, Yeah, I've been seasoned. Just like a cast iron skillet. You season that bad boy. You don't just scrub it.
I'm a cast iron fellow. I love that.
Yeah, just let it. Hi, Melody. I haven't forgotten about you. In conclusion, so, okay, in the 90s, when I was spry, there was a song I loved, I was obsessed with, called METHOD Man. Method Man by the Wu-Tang Clan. And that verse, that song is like, if you listen to the song, Method Man is just styling out. It's just like, there's onomatopoeia, and he's referencing this cartoon and this show, and it's just this wild mashup. And so, but to see it written out like that, and then trying to do it, just saying it, and be like, why does this sound so different than how he's doing it? That was a moment for me, that I was like, these things are crafted, but then there's this other element that doesn't exist between what's on the page and what we hear. And that was the beginning for me. It was like, what is that in between? What is happening there? So that was it for me. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Thank you so much.
Great question.
Mahogany, is there any hidden meanings and symbolism in your books that people maybe tend to graze over that you'd want to?
I'm glad you asked that, because I wrote something about it. NCTE has been amazing, and this is my first time being here, but I definitely studied being here. So everything, I just made notes about everything. And a bird in the air as symbolism. Hope in a deadly air. The book lives inside COVID New York City, an illness that literally attacks the lungs during a time when I Can't Breathe was also a rallying cry against racist violence. A bird still moving through the air that suggests if something as fragile as a bird can survive here, maybe we can too. The air isn't only poison, it's also the thing that keeps us alive. And I'm also thinking about freedom versus confinement. There was a lot of times I had moments of like knee-jerk reactions online when folks were like saying shelter and home is like prison. And I was like, actually, it ain't. This ain't prison, you know. And I have stories about young people incarcerated because my cousin survived that. So I know it's not that, right? So I wanted to be mindful of language. The stories following teens boxed in by lockdown, foster care, incarceration, cramped apartments, and economic pressure. Birds traditionally symbolizing flight, escape, and perspective. A bird in the air outside the window, above the buildings, holding the idea of freedom, the characters feeling in their imaginations before they can have it actually in their bodies. And I'm also thinking about breath as community and continuity. And so the book is a mixed voice chorus of teens, caregivers, community workers, stories all overlapping. And I chose to focus on New York City as a place for this specific story, as that is where I lived and almost died during the pandemic. When nothing felt real or possible, these are the voices that found me. And like a flock, their stories moved across generations and economic differences, transcending food deserts and housing crisis. Their glory and struggles weaved together. So I'm thinking of the work as a small sign, not just cure. The phrase that says means we can still breathe. It doesn't say everything is fine. It says in spite of everything, there is still some room for breath. It's a thin, stubborn kind of hope.
Thank you so much. I had a question that was directed for both of you. Why did you choose the name for your books, and what is the significance of the name?
I usually, just so I can get cooking, I don't worry too much about titles. I usually start with like I usually have about 2 titles before I get to the actual title. So this was not the original title, and it sort of just came to me, this thing of the idea of being the cipher king of the lunchroom rap ciphers. That was like original, like the pitch. That's what I like pitched the book with, and then this thing of it just popped. I was just like in the kitchen. It was a random Wednesday night. Everybody was asleep in the house, you know, and it just like the universe was like, go ahead, have that. And what was funny is everyone was like, ooh, but my agent was like, nah, and it was a moment where we were like, nope, we were like, we outvote your ass, like we know that's fire, So don't listen to your book agent all the time.
The title is funny because originally it was called Epicenter, for obvious reasons. And I couldn't finish the draft within a year because it was still happening. And I used this specific art piece as an archive, a living archive. And they were changing so many things in the news, right? And Epicenter felt fine. It was Zamira, the story that follows Tariq. And the first thing in the first line, the first sentence is, a bird in the air means we can still breathe, is what my sister Tamara always says. And my editor was like, that's the title, Mahogany. It's not Epicenter. And we sat with it for like a year and a half, 2 years. But when she saw it, she said, this is the title. And I'm from the journalism world, so I don't mind being edited at all. I'm like, cool, all right, you think it's good? It's a long title. And I'm gonna say it every time. You know, that's why I now speak in acronym. Online it's ABITA, but it's not the same. But
You
it
know
was
what I like
my
about
agent.
it?
It was
if
my
I may?
agent.
It just like it's in a lineage though. Like there are just when I think of like classic, you know, especially like literature by Black women, there are these great, you know, their eyes were watching God, and I know why the caged bird sings, and that's I like you're in that conversation. It makes me think of these other ones.
That
So
makes me
I'm
feel
glad
so
you
much
didn't-
smarter. Thank you.
Listen,
I did that on purpose.
cipher. Yeah, but you don't. What does Nikki say in Ego Trippin'? She's just like it's.
Even my mistakes are on purpose. Facts. Rest in peace.
questions for the audience.
I hear if you ask a question, you get a free book. I don't know if that's true, but I just threw it out there.
For those of us that are maybe a similar vintage as you, Idris, and we do remember Surya Bonnelly, that was a really great, I would say, descriptive, like concept in your book. Are you a big figure skating fan? And is Ms. Harding, is that intended to be an homage to Tanya Harding because she is very hard on Purnell?
That's great. That's actually, these are great questions. So in the very very early in the book, in the very first chapter, the metaphor for the stage, it's called the 3 stages of Bonnelly, right? So I'm just kind of obsessed with all sorts of different kind of pop culture stuff, sports too, and the story of Surya Bonnelly is like really fascinating to me. So that metaphor of what it feels like to be on to be wired in a certain way, it's like you do these daring things that are pretty amazing but get you in trouble. And also just figure skating to me was like just an apt visual metaphor. So it pops up throughout. And then Harding actually, believe it or not, it was initially Warren G. Harding. Don't ask me why. I'm a big Ken Burns, like PBS. I was watching the American Revolutionary doc, the new joint, the PBS thing, like before I was getting ready to go. I was just like, no, they didn't. I'm an older guy. Anyway, so but then I realized later that there was that Tanya Harding figure skating thing going on. Yeah, respect.
Yes, that was diaphragm talk right there.
Thank you. I was wondering if you would share.
And then you went so quiet.
I
That's so
know.
funny.
You know when you put the mic on and all of a sudden you're like, Miss, calm down. So I teach language arts. I'm also here for NCT, and I was wondering if you two would be generous and share a writing prompt that I can take back to my students after the break.
Yep,
I teach freshmen, juniors, seniors.
I got one for you.
Oh, thank you.
You got one? Am I? Yeah, okay, I am. Okay. Let me figure out this shorter version.
While you're looking, I'll go real quick.
Thank you.
All right, so I just gave my students this. I teach at Arizona State University, and I teach dramatic writing, so playwriting, we just call it that because it sounds more dramatic. So I'm teaching a class on writing for younger audiences, and so they've written history plays, they've written adaptations of myths, and I said, but one of the things that young people really also like is when older people tell stories about when they were young, and so I said, I want you to write something, I was like, in whatever style of expression that is easiest to you. I was like, I don't want no essayistic stuff though, like how you talk when you're with your friends or whatever. So write it as you, and write a story from your youth that is connected to either food, clothing, or shelter.
That's good. All right, I have some steps. I'm thinking of Bird in the Air. I did a discussion earlier about place-based pedagogy and how you use text to create these new landscapes. So I'm not thinking of place as a map you can point to. I'm thinking of it in 4 different buckets. 1, the emotional place. Where are you inside yourself? What season of rage, shame, or wonder? Relational place. Where do you stand in your community? At the center or in the margins? Historical place. What history sits under your feet and in your body? And language place. How do you speak? Because language is also a place. How do you speak when no one's looking, right? The slang, the rhythm, the music of your sentences, think of that as home. And so there are other questions that they can ask, or that you can ask to get them to dig into those 4 different buckets. Where are they inside themselves? Where are they in the story of their people? And where are they in the circle of others? Finally, where does their voice feel at home? I can also share these just via text. I'll just airdrop it. Absolutely.
Free game. That's free game right there.
Got time for one more question?
Can I ask you? Can I ask a question? Not to. Has anybody got a hot hand?
Maybe you'll bring it up. You go.
Yeah. Well, I'm just so fascinated, Mahogany. Like, just the structure of your book, right? Like all of these different voices and things. I mean, I'm so curious about performance and you doing the work of embodying all these voices on stage just now. I mean, is there an audiobook version of this? That's my first question. Have you explored hearing multiple voices do this, like a multiple chorus piece of this? Is that something you're interested in? I know we would all be very interested in that. What do you think?
Yes. So there is an audiobook. It exists.
Is it
I
you?
am one of the readers, but it's a cast of readers.
Oh, okay. That's what's
It's
up.
a cast
That's
of
what's up.
readers. And for my book release, because this is my 3rd YA novel, however, this is like my 49th book. Okay, as a poet in the world, we are putting out books constantly. So, you know, you kind of it gets dry. You get a little tired of the same kind of thing. So my book release was actually a stage reading of cast, and that included everyone from Nigel, who is one of the voices in the audiobook, to Catherine George, a former youth poet with Urban Word, to Manny Montana from Good Girls and Ironheart, and Yolanda Ross from The Shy. So they came and read the parts for the folks. It was amazing. Can I see it living on stage? Only if Idris will produce it. You know what I mean?
Listen.
So what you saying?
I am but a lowly college professor.
No.
Standing
You
by
are
the
a
copy
seasoned.
machine.
You're a seasoned man. You know how to get the financials. Come on.
I can't talk about that at the library though. Anyway, no, but I think it's just really just beautiful, and you know, I just at the college actually, we just one of my colleagues just directed for Colored Girls Who Consider Suicide When the Rainbow Is Enough, which is a show I adore. Don't get me wrong, but I mean I love that wonderful work, important work. But at the same time, I am like, what is the 2020? You know what I'm saying? Like what is what's the continuation? Like I was like, I'm ready for. And I'm sure there are other things that have existed that I'm just ignorant to, but I just had this hunger then, like that show kind of, because I directed that show at Colorado College once upon a time, with all black people. By the way, don't worry, be like Colorado Springs. Yes, we had black women in the show, but I'm just very intrigued by and hungry for more choreo poem.
Yeah.
There's just like I think Hamilton happened, and everybody's like trying to be in that bag a little bit, which word, but like I worry about choreo poem, you know, like who's doing choreo poem? I feel like everyone left choreo poem, you know, and just kind of moved on. So
you know what? And I think it's okay that they left, because everybody wasn't good at it, right? We need to be honest about what's happening.
Mahogany Browne, ladies and gentlemen.
No, really. Jahaz Zainabu, one of my favorite poets, she said, has a greatest quote. She said, "Some of us on stage speaking should be off stage sitting. Some of us singing should be dancing. Some of us dancing should be painting." There are all these ways in which we see star or fame or whatever, and we actually miss our purpose, right? So the choreo poem, folks think, oh, I'm going to just do a novel in verse. And I've read a lot of novel in verses, and I'm like, this is just a bad line break. This is not a novel in verse. You're just writing and then hitting the page break quicker, right? So I'm interested, yes, I'm interested in the new voice, the craftsmanship of the choreo poem. Loretta Devine, she just said, stop bringing back Dream Girls. Like, we have new stories. Sinners showed us that folks are hungry for the new story. You can have the old lore, but what's the new way of talking about it, right? There may be no new story under the sun, but there are so many other suns.
Yeah, the execution. Like, I mean, you need a person with the acumen of a Ryan Coogler who, you know, yeah, I'll work in franchise. I will make you all billions of dollars working in franchise, and now let me cook with this thing. And so to bring it back to you and back to your wonderful book, like, of course, we're not going to put up Traka. You know, I mean, like, good choreo poem is what I'm saying. And so I think maybe to go back to what you said several minutes ago, it's like, yeah, I just got to produce the thing.
It's up to you.
Okay.
When are you going to produce yours?
Who, mine? Who this?
Yeah,
What,
that.
this? Oh, come on.
And do you see it
They'll call it a vanity
working-
project, Mahogany.
Stop
That's what
it.
they'll do.
Do you see it working alongside mental health workers as well? I think you have like an excellent lane that you're in
Yeah.
by just
I-
opening up that conversation.
That's what it is. I mean, that's what I call it. I call it it's a book, but really it's a conversation. I wanted to make space for not just people who are, you know, there's been a lot of people who are my age or older who are just now getting diagnosed or just now treating it. But there's also people who have kids who have it, and teachers who are, you know, there's just all sorts of people are sharing their stories with me on this stuff that feels really good, because that was why I did it. I didn't do it to be like, and y'all, you know, it's like it was not intended to be like, you know, a victim story or like, you know, oh, woe is me. It was really about like, you know, wow, it's amazing. Thank God I had music and hip hop and everything to help me cope, just like so many people do. But I think it's important that people know you've been coping. You know, it actually doesn't have to be this hard, and the shame that comes like that's my thing, is I'm like, no, you are not, there's nothing wrong with you. You know what I'm saying? It's just like this whole thing was designed for one type of, you know, experience and processing style and all that stuff. And so we got to make some noise about it so that, you know, people make more space and they learn things. And so far, everyone's been like, oh, okay, you know, we all, you know, the neuro conversation to me is my way of finding some greater understanding and solidarity. Because like, even if you are quote unquote neurotypical, which by the way, I found out these terms neurodivergent and neurotypical are not, neuroscientists don't have these terms. They're just like ADHD is ADHD, you know, dyslexia is dyslexia, autism is autism. So neurodivergence is a social umbrella. It's a social term that people were like, we need to come together and study. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, the neurotypicals, you see.
Where does the neurospicy fall in there?
Neurospicy is a new innovation. That's what I'm saying. That is just something from the community
Copy.
that was created. Neurospicy, very new. This did not exist a couple years ago. So again, it's these ways of claiming it and educating folk about just giving names to these things. You know what
Our
I mean?
varied learning abilities.
Yeah.
I learned it's not a disability. We just have varied learning abilities.
Yeah.
Word.
Yeah.
Thank you for your work.
I say
Professor.
wiring. I say wiring.
Wiring.
That's my wiring.
Copy that.
I'm old school. But yeah, thank you, Mahogany, for bringing that up. But it is, I'm more interested in it being a conversation, like a dialogue piece, you know, just like a way to get folk together.
Copy that.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
I think I need a lot of words, like do it anyway. Walk through the fear. You're still cool. They won't be your friends later. Don't worry about it. You know, I need the whole plethora. Like, you got to get me through the neighborhood. But a lot of it had to do with peer pressure. I think I talked myself out of the excitement that poetry was very early. And had I just, stuck to what I knew I felt intuitively, I could have absolutely been Mopra. Mopra in Oakland.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I could see that morning show, like. Yeah, I just play like Mac Dre, like. Anyway, sorry.
Too short.
Oh Lord, come on now. Top five artists, rappers from the Bay, real quick.
This is off. This is the saloon talk. Finish her answer.
Don't we all want to know?
12 minutes. Okay. And then we also have to do book signs,
Yeah.
pictures. All right.
I'm gonna come back. It's a great question, but
Too Short, Mac Dre, E40, Sugar Free, Zion I. Hieroglyphics.
don't let it go to your head. Is that
All of 'em.
that's the? I love that song.
Uptown 357.
Dun,
Hammer.
Dun, 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 dun,
Can't just have
uh-oh.
5.
Uh-oh,
You get in
uh-oh,
trouble.
Uh-oh. Anyway, big fan. Oakland is the Detroit of the West Coast. So
This is fair.
yeah, it's a sister city, what we call it. All right, great question, Susie Q. I needed so much. I needed so much. Honestly, I would oh gosh, what group is this? I don't think it's the Temptations. I want to. Maybe it's the Four Tops. There's that song, "It's All Right." It's all right. Have a good time, and it's all right. Oh, it's all right. That's what I needed to hear, which I did hear. So, but I wasn't listening that way. So I would just sing myself that song, and I would have my whole life to decipher that and figure out the message. So yeah, it's all right. Have a good time, because it's all right.
Thank you, Idris Goodwin.
Mahogany
Thank you,
Browne.
Denver, Colorado.
That's that piece.
Thank you,
That's
Julie.
that piece.
Thank you, Melody.
Can I ask one more question?
Well, you're going to get me in trouble. I'm not in trouble. No. Let's talk outside, champ.
Thank you so much, everybody, for coming out tonight. There's books in the lobby. Have a good evening. Thank you so much.
Don't get me in trouble.